Why is getting to go to our White House so difficult versus getting to go to Canadian Parliament? Let's talk about it. So, I was dating a Canadian for quite a bit. We got married. They're from Canada originally. They were living in Texas. So, I spent quite a bit of time in Canada. And one thing that I've noticed in Canada is the fact that you can just walk into Parliament. Parliament is equivalent to the White House for us, let's say. Here in the States, I visited Washington, D.C. I've gone to the White House, but I've only looked at it from outside. And I bet the clearance process isn't too difficult if you're from the States and if you're visiting and whatever. But in Canada, you can just go to Parliament, which is in Ottawa, Canada's capital. Beautiful city, by the way. You can just go into Parliament and walk through a metal detector. Like you like it's like and I told the guy in French, I was like, "Oh yeah," like there was cheese in my bag. So cheese in French is fromage. So I was like, "Oh, like sorry, like my fromage is in my bag. There's nothing else in there." And he like kind of chuckled about it. I bet they see all sorts of things coming through that metal detector. Why is it that the United States seems to have this extreme security people? I it's pros and cons, which I completely understand. And I know the secure our borders folks are gonna go crazy with this podcast, but I really want to know why. Why? What's the difference? You know, even when you go to, I mean, I won't talk about India because India is very different. But like even in Malaysia, you can go to like where their royalty lives. You can see their houses from afar. You know, but their parliament is also quite open. I've never toured inside KL's parliament. Maybe I'll do that next time I go to Malaysia. But even crossing the border, going into Canada, right? Like from the US to Canada, you'll see cameras on the US side, like huge cameras, and like you'll see like a bunch of security. And then once you cross into the Canadian side, it's like no cameras, nature, like moose, whatever stereotypical Canadian things you could say here. No, I'm joking. Um, you know, but and my ex was like, yeah, you'll notice like when you cross in, like, and then coming back, leaving Canada, like there's no security, no cameras. Like they have security, but like compared to the US side, like the US side is like insane. And also the US Border Patrol is quite depending on who you get, what their day was like, etc. Right? Anyone in customer service. But they're quite like heavy-handed. Even the Canadian Border Patrol is quite heavy-handed. Why is it like, for example, my boyfriend and I recently did a trip last year for my cousin's graduation. We went to Toronto from New York. And going into Toronto is his first time in Canada in his X amount of years of life that he has lived. And the officer was like, "Why haven't you come here? Why is this your first time?" You know, and I was just like, "What's your problem?" But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Why do you think